know that if you don't get it right, there is a chance you can get beat. The Ruiz fight, I guess we were probably a bit naive at the time, almost walking on air, that AJ would just steamroll through everyone, and that was just a bolt from the blue that you sort of couldn't get over for weeks. Tonight, you just say it's sport, you got beaten by the better man, we're going to do that. Go away, dust yourself down, improve, and try and beat him in the rematch. But that's all you can do. And his mind's working overtime already. You know, he's a very deep thinker. He'll beat himself up for a while, and you know, when he'll come in here, he's super positive. Yeah, I don't, you know, but he dedicates everything he does to the sport. So it'll cut him deep. But the Ruiz fight was very different. Very different. Tonight he got beat by pound for pound. Fantastic fight. You know, in New York, it was one of the biggest upsets in heavyweight history. So gutted, but more, you know, just more understanding of that's what happens at high level sport.
Rematch that.
Yeah. I mean, there's no one could convince him any different. You know, he's got to make changes, he's got to do better. Usyk will probably, I'm pretty sure he'll be a favourite going into the rematch, which was very different to the Ruiz rematch. AJ, I was just looking at the scorecards then, he was winning the fight through 8 rounds and he lost every round, 9, 10, 11, 12 on every card. And that was what swung the scorecards, but they're the championship rounds, and that's where Usyk came strong. You know, he did what he did, which was wear down his opponent, probably mentally a little bit as well. And you know, he won those key championship rounds.
AJ, has the UK stipulated as a venue for the rematch?
No.
So it could be in Ukraine, yeah?
No, very unlikely, I think. Ukraine's not great in February. Now, on a serious note, we will work together to maximise the revenue. Ukraine, very unlikely, to be honest. I think it'll be international or it'll be in the UK, but I would think it'll be in the UK.
And Eddie, what's the update on Anthony Joshua's eye injury?
I think he's okay. I don't think he's fractured an eye socket. That was the worry at first. He said he couldn't see out of it from the 9th round. His corner done a great job. It's severely swollen, but I think he's okay.
And what has Anthony said since the fight to you?
He hasn't stopped talking for 2 hours about the fight. Chisora's been in, Bellew's been in, you know, and they're all 3 of them trying to solve the master plan. Just positive, upbeat. He doesn't want to, you know, he's not the kind of guy to be licking his wounds. I know he will be inside, but he, you know, when he comes in here, you'll see he'll be very positive. I think in a strange way he enjoyed the fight, because I think he knows he learned so much in the fight, and I think deep down he knows he was beaten by the better man tonight, and he was beaten by an outstanding boxer. So I think I think he needs credit, because he could have swerved that fight easy, and maybe we should have. But that's not really what he's about. And you know, I think you've got people who will take easy options, and you've got people who will choose to fight everybody. And the latter is AJ. And I think us fans, you guys, should give him that credit. It's again same with the rematch. You know, people say, oh, you know, maybe you should have same with Ruiz after that fight. Maybe a little 10 rounder. No, absolutely no chance of convincing him to do that. He will want to go straight into the rematch with Oleksandr Usyk, because that's what he does. And, you know, for that time where I was talking about that 12 fight run that he's been on, Dillian White, Charles Martin, Brazil, Molina, Klitschko, Takam, Parker, Povetkin, Ruiz, Pulev, Usyk. Now you're going to stick Usyk on him again. That's a 13 fight run. I actually feel quite bad. And I think someone said in the change room, can't we fight Jake Paul or something? You know, he seems to have to take all these tough fights, but you know, hopefully he's remembered for that.
How did you score the fight?
I thought 8-4 was fair. I did pretty much all square after 8 rounds. I can't remember the 9th round, but I felt like AJ was actually turning the fight. I thought he had a poor start, and then I thought he was coming into the fight, and then Usyk just stepped through the gears and did what he does. I thought Usyk's game plan was spot on. especially coming out, starting the round so quickly, take the middle of the ring. There's so many things AJ can improve. So many. I don't think it was a very good performance from AJ. Not at all. But how much of that was the quality of Usyk? Probably quite a lot. But he's got to make big improvements to win the rematch, and he's confident he can do it.
Isn't a rematch with Usyk completely different to a rematch with Usyk?
Yeah, I mean, in the sense that you go in as an underdog, so that's okay. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I think Usyk will be a favourite going into the rematch, but there are, you know, when you talk about that performance from AJ, he can fight so much better than that, so much better than that. But Usyk was brilliant. So how much of that, you know, was it he made AJ fight like that, etc. But I still believe he can do much better against Usyk. But he would have to make some changes.
I just look to you, Anthony,
Yeah, because I don't, you know, Matt, at the end of the day, what are you going to do? You know, you're going to go and have a 10-rounder or fight an interim bout. Ultimately, if he doesn't accept the rematch clause, he will not get a chance to win his world championships back. Possibly ever, the way this game works. Do you know what I mean? And that was the same with Ruiz. To be honest, I would have actually probably advised him not to take the Ruiz match after that kind of defeat. I know he was outboxed tonight, but against Andy Ruiz, he went down 4 or 5 times, you know, and he was stopped quite badly in that fight. Tonight, he was outboxed, you know, and started to get a little bit beat up towards the end, but, you know, there's a number of reasons for that. But I don't see another option. You know, he's not going to want to go and have a 10-rounder at the O2. He's going to want to try and win his belts back, and again, should be commended for it. And this time, as what will be an underdog in that rematch. I won't say that when he turns up, but we know he will be. But that's what he does, you know. And I think he wants to be remembered to be that kind of fighter. To be honest with you, it wasn't. You know, I know it was taxing in the 12th round, but it wasn't. You know, he said, I know he's not. It's not like he's this devastating puncher. He's just really good and accurate as well. So I don't feel like the fight took bundles out of him. He was knackered at the end of the fight, but you know, I think he has to. I think he has to take it.
He was obviously very relaxed going into the ring.
Yeah.
Too relaxed.
I asked him that. He said he felt absolutely great. He said he was excited, confident, felt great. I've never seen a fighter do what he does. You know, and I was on the ring walk with him, and I was thinking to myself, what is he doing? You know, one stage he walked off and he saw Johnny Oliver and his wife from Finchley, clocked them, and then walked 10 yards and then thought, actually, I didn't really say hello to her. Went back, gave her a cuddle. You know? But I think one thing Usyk does really well is he kind of infiltrates your brain in the lead up to the fight, where you're almost worrying yourself with what he's going to do and how good he is, because everybody tells you how good he is. And I think maybe AJ gave him too much respect in the fight, particularly the early part of the fight.
I'm sure AJ will be much better in the next fight, but so will Usyk. I mean, this was only the fight since the heavyweights. Are you concerned how much better Usyk could be?
No, I thought that was. I don't know if he can be much better. I hope he can't. But I thought that was, when you look at Usyk's performance as a heavyweight, like that was the best performance of his career, basically. You know, and he's had some unbelievable wins on away soil, but I think he boxed the perfect fight. So I'd like to be more of a half glass full guy and say, can he do it again? Maybe he can raise his game, but maybe he can't box to that level again. Maybe he had the perfect camp. Maybe next time he won't have the perfect camp. Maybe he's now achieved everything he's ever wanted to achieve and might go and put on some weight like Andy Ruiz, I don't know. Like, anything could happen. But AJ will, I promise you, he will be much, much better than that in the rematch. He would, you know, it's not that he wasn't at the races. He boxed okay, but not to the level he can box.
Eddie, ideally, where would you want the rematch to be done? And you talk about February.
I don't know, February, March. I mean, you know, I'd like to do it in the UK again. But again, we'll sit down with Alex Krasuk and talk about, you know, there's already been a few people on who are interested in staging a rematch. I'd like to do it in the UK. I think obviously that would be a benefit to AJ. I thought the atmosphere tonight was unbelievable. But again, you know, we'll sit down with Alex Krasuk and Aegis and see what makes most sense for both guys.
Eddie, I spoke to Lawrence.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
Usyk enters at the top 5 pound for pound entry. Where would you place him now, given that he's made history, only the third man to win the heavyweight championship after?
2. Yeah, after the I think. I mean, you know, when he was at cruiserweight, everybody called him a top 5 pound for pound. But then when he went to heavyweight, he kind of went off everyone's radar. But after that win, he has to be on everyone's top pound for pound. I mean, let's.
Fighter of the year as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you go through the resume of beating Huck in Germany, Gassiev in Russia, Bradis in Latvia, Bellew in Manchester, Chisora in the UK, Joshua, I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, like I said, maybe we should have swerved him and just put the belt in the bin. But that's not what AJ's about. You know? So I come back to giving him credit. I hope people do. Yeah, I see people criticise him. Oh, you know, he didn't box well. Oh, he's not that good. But like, he's consistently proved that he's willing to take all comers, and I think he should be applauded for fighting Oleksandr Usyk twice.
Eddie, I spoke to Lawrence Cody earlier, and he said that he wanted to see in the rematch probably less boxing from AJ, more the fighter. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think he needs to make changes, but I'm sure he'll do that with the team. And here he is now, ladies and gentlemen.